All right, welcome. So, we're back once again. I do not have any music playing in the background this time, but we will be looking at patch 25.16 for League of Legends and 15.2 for Teamfight Tactics. And after some feedback that I received from one of you out there, I will do them in separate videos. So I'm going to look at them both in this stream, but then we're going to separate them into two different videos. So if you're watching this on YouTube, the Teamfight Tactics video will be separate if you're a TFT player and you've been watching that content. All right. 25.16, ready for takeoff. Patch highlights, a lot of nerfs and buffs. Now, I have not done the stream, by the way, for Kled and Alawi. Alawi's terrible. You know, she's still really annoying to play against. I know that much for sure. But, man, she doesn't feel good as a character. So, I actually did not upload that. But I can see she's here on the buff list. More on that later. So, Battle Pass changes. Alongside some visual updates, we've adjusted the total number of core milestones down from 50 to 48, which would make the pass slightly faster to complete. The total rewards are unchanged, just compressed together. Okay, that's nice. Getting through a battle pass will be a little easier. It's a little dark in here, isn't it? Let me, It's a little dark. Hang on. Let me just, put this here on the side. Oops, I accidentally dropped it. There we go. That makes my face a little brighter. Sorry about that. Anyway. See, Summoner's Rift Rank Season 2 end. And on the last date of patch 25.16, August 26th. I have been sitting at Emerald 1 for a while. I should probably get through that before the rank season comes to an end. Season 3 2025 will not reset your LP rank or tier progression, only the rank reward mission. Oh, okay, so that's for like the Fiora skin? Maybe I don't care then. Champions, Brand. Passive damage to monsters increased, Q stun duration increased, arc cooldown decreased. So just some Brand buffs across the board. That's a bit scary to me. Brand can be a very difficult character to deal with. I hope this doesn't make like I see that they're trying to bring Brand jungle back. I really hope this doesn't make like Brand support really popular again. That would be kind of annoying. Per tick damage to monsters, 260%, so plus 20%. Plus 0.25 seconds to the stun. Pyroclasm cooldown. Down 10 seconds across the board. I don't know. That seems substantial, but not to like the point where I think he'd be overbearing. I was honestly like concerned this would be a lot higher. It is a skill shot though, so we shall see, right? Gnar, Q cooldown decreased. Gnar's been a sad little fluffball in the top lane and hasn't even thrived in his natural pro play habitat. I don't see the problem with that though. Does Gnar really need to be good? I feel like when this champ's good, he stomps every matchup but like Aurora. And even then, he's still like a range top most of the time. With percent HP magic damage on a 3-hit passive, by the way. But whatever, his boomerang, lower cooldown, 4 less seconds at level 1. And then it equalizes at 10 max rank. Yeah, okay. That's not that bad. Maybe I'm overreacting a little. Alawi, passive damage increased, cooldown decreased. Last patch's Alawi changes landed weaker than we intended, so we're here to rectify that and give her the buff she deserves. So total AD ratio up another 5%. Spawn cooldown 20 through 7.25 is now 18 through 7. Okay, so here's my official opinion on these Alawi changes after having played with it. What makes Alawi good in any way is not really like the numbers. It's more like you shatter the opponent's mental, right? Like this character is good purely on the basis of whatever's playing against it is having an absolutely terrible time, right? Because she's not a character that's gonna like win the game on her own. Not unless you're playing against like 3 or 4 melee champions and you're in the side lane and they have to send multiple people after you, and then she's thriving in her natural habitat. But even then, she's only thriving as like a counterpick sort of situation, you know? I feel like the idea is in the right place, right? Make the champion less frustrating to play against. And now that you've pulled so much power out of her E, you have freedom to put her power budget in other places in her kit. So I feel like they're on the right track with Alawi. They're on the right track, right? Make her less frustrating and buff other parts of her kit. That's fine to me. But I feel like it's always going to be a bit of a struggle with this champ just because she's so frustrating. If you're a melee, if you're an immobile melee top lane, you hate this champion, period. And even those that are mobile kind of hate this champion. Because, like, Riven, for example. You probably beat Alawi all the way through to the first item, and then you can never fight her again. Right? Because, like, realistically, Riven has to use her mobility to dodge in circles around you. She can't just run straight at you. Right? So you can sit there on the E forever and be annoying and just play chicken with her. I don't know. Like I said, the whole strength of this character is just that she's super, super obnoxious to fight. So we'll see. Hopefully they get her into a state of balance where it's like, I don't mind playing against the character, but she still feels, you know, strong and does what she's supposed to do, which is basically be an anti-gank sort of character. Jarvan. Armor growth decreased. Jarvan has been overperforming. Armor growth down. Ooh, really? By 0.6? Pretty substantial. 6 less armor at level 10. Okay. You want him to be a little less tanky. I can understand that. Jarvan's got a new skin on the way as well, a prestige skin, so I expected buffs. Kalista, AD growth increase, E damage, AP scaling increased. Kalista's finally fallen off the pro play radar. That's because she lost like 12 games straight in pro play. Right? She lost like every game at MSI. And it was funny because like Renata, who was like her best combination or her best support, also was like 0-8 purely off of being played with Kalista, who was losing every game. So it seems like now that she's finally no longer like a big pro play thing, they're trying to put some power back into her. Which is fine, I suppose. As long as we don't end up with another Kalista top situation, I don't care. So attack growth increased by 0.25. Okay. An extra AD per 4 levels. Rend. Initial damage AP ratio. Wow, 65%. Subsequent damage AP ratio, 50%. Yeah, so this is one of those interesting situations where they want it to feel not so bad if you build an item with AP in it. Particularly, most likely, Ginsu's Rage Blade. You feel a lot less bad about building that item. In fact, you probably feel a lot less bad about building any of the AP attack speed items. Like, maybe some people would appreciate, like, even Nashor's Tooth, but it's basically Rage Blade, if I had to guess. Lulu, please nerf the hell out of this champion. I am so sick of handless supports winning a fight off of polymorphing someone. E cooldown increased, damage and shield decreased. Okay. Great, it's nerfs. Lulu has proven to be extremely resilient to nerfs and is still a top support. You know why she's a top support? There's no skill expression in this champion. Right? I don't care how many support mains I piss off. Your role is too easy. Your champs are too easy. You don't need hands to play Lulu. You don't. Like, you really, really don't. Your shield is point and click. Polymorph is point and click. Your ultimate is point and click. The only thing that's hard to hit is Glitter Lance. And even then, it's 2 lines, and you can guarantee it hits by placing point and click with your E, help picks. And then you guarantee Glitter Lance hits. Like, the champion gets too much value for a champ with almost no skill expression. And it's true with most enchanters. Realistically, it's true with most enchanters. Most of them are so easy to play to the point where it's like harder to it's harder to fuck up with them than it is to play them even suboptimally. Because literally, Lulu just buys an Ardent Sensor, puts a shield on her AD carry, polymorphs whatever's on her, and she's done her job. Right? Like, there's not a whole lot that goes into it. Sorry. Sorry to rant like that, but I should rant a lot less about support players, but support players piss me off. The last Lulu I had was complaining to me about being counterpicked. Never dying, by the way. I went down like, 20 CS? I got counterpicked top lane. And she was like, oh, it's top gap. That's the reason we're losing. Meanwhile, there's like a 12-4 enemy Twitch. But she needs someone to blame when she doesn't know how to play the game and has no fucking clue what she's doing. Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry, but Enchanter players, they upset me greatly. Because none of them know anything about the game whatsoever. Okay, I'll stop. Master Yi. Q now stacks Kraken Slayer and Terminus. Ooh, that's interesting. On-hit synergy for Master Yi. I mean, he loves building on-hit items anyway, right? This is probably, again, to pull him away from the lethality builds. Because they just buffed Crit Yi last patch. And now they're improving his on-hit synergy. This is definitely so, you do get rewarded for building Blade of the Ruined King and going those full on-hit builds. Kraken Slayer first came out. We exude Aftershock, but as it's no longer a mythic item, those burst damage concerns aren't nearly as pressing. Okay, good for Master Yi. His those on-hit crit builds really going to start to come online after a while if they keep buffing it. Mordekaiser, Q AD ratio added. 120% bonus AD. To open up more build options, we're giving him some bonus attack damage ratios aimed at his... This will be a direct buff to him every time he ults, but the main intends to bring back some AD builds and splashes with options like Sterix. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking of his ult. Right? Because Mordekaiser is most known to counter champs like Camille, for example. So Camille builds Trinity Force, Ravenous Hydra, and like Death Dance, right? She probably wouldn't build the Death Dance against Mordekaiser specifically, but the point being, those high AD champions, or just most AD champs in general, he actually benefits from it now. That's pretty sweet. I kind of like that. That's an interesting way to buff Mordekaiser. Yeah, I like it. It's a net buff across the board, no matter what. Because if you're fighting against an AD top laner, the moment you ult them, you do get the benefits instantly. You don't have to build AD. But it's an option now. Morgana, W damage adjusted. Morgana's in a pretty sad state right now, could use some power in all three of her roles. We're looking to make her main damage and building more reliable by letting her whittle down healthier targets. This is a riskier chance that may not end up having the power impact we want. Okay. Risking it a little bit. I feel like Morgana's terrible. I agree with them. She has been in a very weak state for a while. I don't think Morgana's been strong since, like, they buffed Morgana jungle, like, what was that, like 2 seasons ago? And her and Rumble were, like, the best junglers in the game for a few patches. And then they nerfed it. And then that's it. That's, like, all I've seen of Morgana in, like, the past 5 years. So let's see. Minimum damage, 60 to 280 is now 70 to 350 plus 100% AP. Max damage, 765 plus 200% AP. Wow. This seems very skewed towards mid and jungle. Which I'm about it. I kind of like the idea of Morgana being a mid jungle champion rather than support anyway. Nautilus. E damage to monsters increased. They're trying to bring back Nautilus jungle too? Once we've hit, the first hit of E will deal 285 plus 50% AP bonus damage to monsters. Listen. Those of you who are newer to this game probably only have ever known Nautilus as a support. But he was originally a jungler and a top laner. And he eventually fell off because top lane power creep, plus Nautilus having like no real percent HP damage to compete. It was the same thing that happened to Maokai until they gave Maokai the percent HP damage on his Q. But he fell off and became a support because he has so much utility. But this champion used to be a disgusting jungler because you could not fail ganks. You just walked into the lane and auto attacked them. The Q hitbox is enormous, and in a worst case scenario, you press R, it's guaranteed to get to them, knock them up, which then goes into your full combo. Pretty much the same thing Maokai was dealing with because his route is a point and click. Man, I'm actually kind of hype about this, not gonna lie. This champ is super annoying to deal with as a jungler, but I'm kind of excited. Nocturne, armor growth decreased, Q bonus AD decreased. Well, he's been pretty strong for a long time, so I'm not shocked. The ability to turn off all enemy vision is always going to be broken. Armor growth down 0.5, fine. Not a whole lot, but it makes him weaker without items, easier to kill, which we can always appreciate. Dustbrinker, bonus AD, 20 through 60, 15 through 55. It's 5 damage. Again, without items, it's making him a little weaker. Easier to kill, easier to take advantage of, easier to trade with. That's fine. I think realistically you should just make his ult cooldown even longer, but that's the fun part of his kit. Like fiddlesticks. Kiana, Q damage increase, W attack speed increase. I almost never see Kiana. As far as I know, the last Kiana player I spoke to said that she had a lot of issues with the way some of her combos worked, like bugs or something like that. I have no idea. I don't play this champion. I hardly ever see her. But her base damage increased by 10. Bonus attack speed from 5 to 25. Now 15 to 35. Wow, they tripled it at level 1? And I wonder, do you max it last? Do you max it last? Do you max this over the dash? Triple the bonus attack speed at level 1 is a pretty big goddamn deal. I like that. Rek'Sai, base AD increased and a bunch of bug fixes. Okay. So her base attack damage got increased a little bit. She also just got reworked, so no longer fails to deal damage. No longer travels to a different location from the tunnel exit. Haven't seen enough of the Rek'Sai. I've seen a little bit. I've seen, I think, maybe 3 or 4 games. And I've seen the highs and lows of this champion already. So I'm okay with some buffs. Make her a bit more consistent. Rel, W shield decreased. So they're nerfing Rel again. 13% max health. Now 11% max health. Okay. Weaker shield by 2%. That's fine. I don't think that's going to stop Rel, but we'll see. Rumble, Q damage decrease. Q and R quality of life improves. Power impacting bug fixes. Fixing a long-standing set of issues with Rumble that caused him to deal less damage to champions when played on the red side. In addition, we're less damage on the red side. I didn't know about that. Refactoring his flamethrower to work more like a true damage effect. What? Each hit will light his target on fire and they'll take another 2 ticks of damage in all contexts, which is a buff to the tail end of the spell. Also, retime the equalizer to keep each zone hot for exactly as long as the visuals persist on the map. So damage over 3 seconds. 60 through 180 plus 110 plus 9.2. 60 through 180 plus 100 to 8%. So it is less damage overall, but the burn duration is longer. And it applies to debuff. So this looks like it's removing like a lot of the confusing aspects when it comes to timers and whatnot, like for how long you're burning. When you burn, how long you burn. But it is less damage overall. Alright, that's the only part that matters to me, because Rumble's busted, so. Shaco, passive damage decreased, Q damage decreased, cooldown increased. Shaco's ban rate has been creeping up, so we're going to tap him down in a few hours. AD Shaco getting nerfed is not something I thought I'd see ever again. Holy crap. So his bonus AD ratio for his passive is down 5%. Bonus AD ratio on his Q is down 5%. The cooldown has been increased. The cooldown on his Q being increased makes sense to me because it can be really frustrating to catch this motherfucker. But the actual AD ratios going down is a shock to me, considering that AP Shaco has been the only way to play him for years now. And suddenly there's a resurgence in AD Shaco and their immediate gut reaction is to nerf it. PTSD. Singe, Q refresh rate buff, power impacting bug fix. While on red side, Singe no longer deals delayed damage or less damage to champions. I didn't know about this. So it'll deal more damage on average. Yeah. So them cutting the refresh duration in half means there's a little bit more time. There's a smaller but not unignorable window where Singe can apply an extra tick of poison. So technically it's more damage, since you can get the poison procced on you more often and more reliably. Sion, passive health loss decreased. E armor shed increased, R damage increased. AD Sion hasn't been in a good spot, so we're here to help him out. Health loss per tick decreased, so it was 2.3 to 24, is now 2 through 19. So his passive lasts longer. Roar of the Slayer, minus 25% armor. Bonus AD ratio on his ult, up to 120%. Holy crap, we gotta play AD Sion. If you hit someone from if you ult from top to mid and you hit the enemy mid lane, they die. Like, actually, after 2 items, you're gonna kill someone with this. I love it. We know these changes may be broadly power positive. We target areas that make AD Sion happier in particular. I love it. I love it. 120%, dude. A 40% buff to the ult damage. It's not like it's the easiest ult to hit, but when you do hit it, ooh, it's going to be brutal. Silas. Passive now does bonus damage to monsters. So 50%. Holy shit. Silas Jungle might be back. Despite the fact that he isn't really able to jungle effectively, tell players who want to play him we're revisiting his ability to clear jungle. He might be back. The champion's not bad. I would argue Silas is pretty good as a champion overall, and now you're letting him able to jungle more effectively. Trundle, W attack speed decreased late, cooldown increase. Trundle's pummeling all other junglers at all ranks, in addition to being highly prevalent in pro play. That makes sense. This makes sense to me. So 30 to 110 is now 30 to 90. 16 to 12, 18 to 14. Ooh. Pretty hefty to Trundle. But it makes sense. This champion can pretty much do whatever he wants around the map, especially if you do lock in a tank jungler. Like, if you're playing, like, Trundle versus Sejuani, how does she play? Right? Trundle is unkillable. He ults your tank and makes them squishy. I mean, I don't even need to talk about it. So, I think this is a good change. This is a good nerf. Trundle will still be Trundle, but at least he'll troll a little less. Varus. Q damage decreased, W damage increased late, E damage decreased, bug fix. Tweaking Varus' dispatch in order to make him stronger in the hands of an average player will make him weaker in pro play. Nerfing lethality. Okay. Buffing on hit. I feel like that's been the play for a while. Nerf lethality Varus, buff on hit Varus. Make him more of an AD carry rather than a mid laner that's poking you, right? So base damage down 10. Bonus magic damage on hit. Up to 8 when maxed. Hail of arrows. 60 to 220 plus 100. 60 to 180 plus 90. Right, so yeah, that's hitting his lethality builds pretty hard. I always wonder what you max first on Varus. I feel like you can max anything first on this champion. But I don't know. ADC is my least played role, and when I do play him, I don't play Varus. And I only ever see lethality when I do see this champ. Aside from the occasional asshole playing AP Varus top. Targets will once again take damage per blight stack on them when Varus R spreads to them from the primary target. Okay. Viego. Attack speed growth decreased, Q nerfed against monsters and buffed against non-monsters. Oh! Are they trying to bring back Viego in lane, potentially? Instead of straightforward nerf, we're going to be shifting some of his power from jungle into solo lane, somewhere many players used to play him back when he came out. Yeah, I played Viego top when he came out. So his attack speed growth is down 0.25. Damage 15 to 75 is now 25 to 85. So higher base damage on the Q. Critical strike multiplier down to 75%. Bonus damage to monsters 0. Mark minion healing back to 100% on the minion healing. Once you're down 125, Mark champion healing 150. Holy crap, we might be back. The reason this champ was broken in solo lanes was because he could heal infinitely off of minions, and his Q hits you at such an extended range on such a low cooldown that he stacked Conqueror for free while just healing infinitely off of minions. It might be back. Viego top might be back. I think like Kaiser Mord was the only player still playing this, but now it might actually be good. I'm kind of excited. We got to try Viego top. Warwick, base AD increased. Passive damage decreased early. Warwick's easy to pick up and play, which is reflected in his moderately high win rate, typical of an approachable jungler. However, in top lane, he's too strong. Yeah, extremely. Very frustrating experience where he can either be killed by an all-in or simply sustains backup out of reach. So his base attack is up by 5, but his bonus on-hit damage has been reduced. 6 to 46. Okay. What made this oppressive, by the way, is his passive does bonus magic damage, and then he heals for a portion of the amount. So this is to stop him from healing so damn much. Xin Zhao, base health decreased, Q damage decreased. Currently one of, if not the best junglers in the game. 20 less base health, flat bonus damage per hit. 20 to 80 is now 15 to 75. So they tapped him. This makes sense to me. And Xin Zhao is about to get a visual update, which we're going to take a look at. He looks like a cultivator out of a Chinese manhwa. Like he looks like he's about to come in on a flying sword and tell you you're courting death. Yuumi, Q damage decreased, W heal and shield power on hit heal decreased. Thank God. More Yuumi nerfs. Bad to close the book on the cat, and by close book we really just mean nerf her to an appropriate power level by making her less of a late game eventuality. Hang on just a second. Alright, sorry about that. I had to check real fast. So, empowered base damage on her Q. 80 to 380 is now 80 to 355. So, minus 25. You and me. 5 through 15 is now 4 to 8. Wow. They halved her heal and shield power. Heal on hit. 3 to 11 plus 4. 3 to 7 plus 3. Nice. Get this damn cat out of my games. Yuumi might be the one character we all agree probably should have never been added to the game. Aside from Seraphine, but I think that's different. Seraphine pissed people off because of how thematically she was to like Sona. Right? She looked like an isekai character made to sell KDA skins. She doesn't look like a character from Runeterra. She looks like a character from some webcomic. But Yuumi is like actually a character no one appreciates. The people who do appreciate her need to be banned. Zyra, E grasping roots, down 1 second, okay. Base damage, 180, 200 to 400. Small buff to Zyra's base damage. Yeah, I don't see this champion get played much anymore. The last time I saw Zyra was like a Zyra mid. I don't even see her support. Hexplate, 20% increase to the attack speed. 5% increase to the move speed. Yeah, this is a Nocturne item. I think this is a decent item on like Olaf as well. Strong buff to its empowered state. I guess this makes sense. They're trying to make Hex play a little less of a niche item, I suppose, and something that more champions can build reliably as maybe like a third or fourth item. Because currently, it's just like a good second item on like Nocturne, Olaf. Those are the only two I can think of, really. But now I suppose like this might feel like a decent item on a few other characters. As long as the as long as you give it enough stats, people will eventually play it on other champs. When we removed Baron's health regen last patch, we overlooked the extra regen that got added to for every minute of game time. We found that sneaky stat allocation and squashed it, so now Baron really won't regenerate. Okay, base health increased. Health per minute, 190, so it's up by 10. And now he actually won't regenerate. Gotcha. And then some arena fixes. That's nice. Changes to champions in arena. Okay. Augments, anvils, items, yada yada. Two excellent skins that people are hyped for, by the way. Brick Toy Corky and Bowling League Lilia. And then Victorious Fiora. So this is the skin you're playing for this August. Oops, my light went off. Overall, not bad on the patch notes. I feel like these past few patches have been pretty interesting. Pretty nice to read through. So there you go. 31 minutes of patch